Well, we're here in Turner's Cross following Cork City's 1-0 win against Sligo Rovers. Barry McNamee of Cork City. It wasn't a spectacular performance, but it was a winning performance.
Yeah, well, that's what we spoke about, especially at half time now, that that it wasn't the best we played, but we knew we just had to stick in together, and we knew that we'd get a couple of chances, and thankfully Jimmy took his.
How difficult was it out there tonight? Because Sligo dropped deep and you created 3 or 4 chances, but you never really looked high energy. There was never really a flow.
No, well, again, I suppose that's what every team coming here this year will try and do. Like, they'll try and sit in and ask us to break them down. And I think we had a couple of half chances in the first half without really putting them under too much pressure. And we come out in the second half, and look, I suppose maybe it was a tough game on Friday night as well. Took a wee bit out of us, but we weren't just ourselves. So we're just delighted, really, in the end to get over the line and get the 3 points. Your
manager John Caulfield wrote in his pre-game notes that you haven't really clicked yet, and there's a lot of guys playing together that haven't played much together before, and that, you know, for the team that started, or only for the team that started against Pats, for example, last Friday night, started this time last year. So there is a certain amount of gelling still going on, I imagine. That's it.
Like, no different than any other team in the country. Like, there's a lot of new players in the squad, and obviously coming off the back of a great year last year, the club was looking to push on, and for one reason or another, I suppose it is only 2 months into the season. There's 10, 12 games played, so it will take a wee bit of time to get used to, and I'm sure there's a lot better football to come from us.
Do you feel that gelling process is happening now?
Yeah, like you see it in training, like you're getting used to different players, and I suppose that's the same as every club, but again, we're right where we want to be. Like, we're only 2 points off top, so I'm sure as the longer the season goes on, the better we'll start to play.
And 2 kind of fought out tough 1-0 wins, that will actually help, won't it? Because if you win games that you didn't play particularly well in, it gives a team something, it gives a team a bit of confidence, it gives it a boost.
Well, I suppose, like, from my perspective, playing against Cork, that was all that they were great at. Like, when they weren't playing well, they would dig in, and first and foremost, they won't concede goals. And like, we didn't concede the last 2 games, and we got the one chance we got, and we scored it. So, like, that's all you're looking for. Like, if you keep a clean sheet, you have a real good chance of winning the game.
Were you the most relieved man in the stadium tonight when Jimmy Keohane scored after you missed a sitter a couple of minutes before?
Yeah, obviously I was delighted for Jimmy to probably pull me out of a hole there, but to me, I know it was disappointing to miss that great chance, like, but for me it doesn't really matter who scores, and I suppose Jimmy come on, made a great impact, like he always comes on and puts on 100%, and that's really all the management asks for, is go out and give 100%, and their talent will shine through.
And what kind of player are you? Will you think of all the good things you did tonight, and there were several good things, you worked incredibly hard out there, you played well yet again, or will you think of that one moment? What will go through your mind for the rest of the night and maybe up until Friday when you play Bows?
Well, obviously, like, no different than any other player. Like, the first thing you want to do is you go out and work hard for the team, and again, I'll be disappointed, obviously I missed the chance, but in the end, like, we got the 3 points, and I'll not reflect too much on it.
How have you adapted to life in Cork? Because I guess coming from Derry, you're used to being in a city, in a place where the focus is all on one team.
Yeah, I suppose, like, to be fair, it's not that it's no big difference, but like in Derry, people would have stopped and asked you about it in the street as well, but down here it's obviously a bigger population, bigger crowds at the game, so it's kind of always twice that or triple that there, like, the amount of focus on it. So obviously you're used to it a wee bit, but the magnitude of the club down here is a lot bigger.
Is there more pressure on you as an individual down here?
I wouldn't say as an individual there's more pressure on me. There's more pressure on the team to win matches, and I suppose then that trickles down and it puts more pressure on the players individually to go out and perform, but as a team. So at the end of the day, like, it's not really about me, it's about the team, and you always do what you can for the team.
And does John Dunleavy help you out, a fellow Donegal man? You know, does he act as translator? Is it, jokes aside, a good thing to have someone kind of from, I was going to say the locality, but from close enough to you down here as well?
Well, obviously, like, Johnny's been Johnny. Like, he gets on very well with everybody, and he always tries to integrate with the new boys and make them feel welcome. But everyone's the same. Like, there's nobody sitting in the corner on their own. Like, everybody's in amongst each other, and obviously it's a great group to be in, and I'm sure that'll push us on for success this year.
It's Bows away on Friday night. What are you expecting from that?
Same as you get from Bows every year. Like, they play reasonably well against us this year down here, and you know it's going to be a battle first and foremost, and it's up to us again to regroup as a team, and again, as I said, work hard, keep a clean sheet, and I'm sure we'll get chances to win the game.
And just before I let you go, and I swear I'm not trying to get you into trouble with this question, how do you compare John Caulfield to Kenny Shields, two managers of real personality? And again, I mean that as a compliment to them both.
Yeah, well, obviously, like, they're first and foremost about them. They're football mad. Like they're in first thing in the morning. They're probably last to leave then afterwards. So like they put their heart and soul into it, and obviously, like I'm sure everyone will say, like they kind of come across different and stuff, but it's just the way they're different people, and they're both passionate about trying to win. And like obviously, like whenever at Derry, Kenny obviously first and foremost, like he went out and he wanted us to play, and down here it's mostly like you hard work, you be solid, and then you play in their half rather than just take chances as such. But no, they're two great football men, and obviously I've learned a lot from them. I'm looking forward to learning a lot more from John as the year goes on. They
do have similarities, don't they? I mean, they will back you up, they will stand by their team, but if they feel it's necessary, they won't hold the rod, will they?
No, like that's what you need from a manager. You need to know that your manager has your back first and foremost. But again, you need to know that if you're not pulling your weight, the manager will pull you to the side, and he'll not be afraid to put a bit of pressure on you to get your act together. But as I said, they're two great people, and they're really passionate about their football.
Barry, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. I've watched you many times. This is my first time actually meeting you. Barry McNamee of Cork City, following the 1-0 win against Sligo Rovers. Barry, well done tonight.
Thank you.